Hey, it's Dr. Deb Matthew here, President of the North Carolina Integrative Medical Society, and I am super honored to be here today with Dr. Aristo Vojdani, who is a renowned immunologist with 50 years experience in both clinical and research labs. He is the co-owner of Immunoscience Lab in Los Angeles and the chief scientific officer for Cyrex Labs in Phoenix. He is also a teaching professor at Loma Linda in the Department of Preventive Medicine, and he teaches about functional medicine, which is super exciting. He has published over 200 articles, and he's written 2 books, and the latest book is about food-associated autoimmunities. So he is going to be joining us this summer in Asheville for the Southeast Regional Integrative Medical Conference, and he's going to be talking to us about the environment and autoimmune disease and this new idea of exposomes. So I'm going to turn it over to you to explain a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Dr. Deborah. It will be my pleasure to be in Asheville and to present in front of your audience. I'm going to share with them the latest article that was published in January 2020 in Science, you know, the best journal.
Yes.
About exposomes and health. As you know, for many years, the members of American Academy, Environmental Medicine, Preventive Medicine, Functional Medicine, they put so much emphasis on the role of environments in the induction of autoimmune diseases. Unfortunately, they did not pay attention so much. So I'm very delighted to see that now they publish an article in Science about the role of exposomes in overall health and diseases. In this article, they talk about 140,000 chemicals being introduced into our environment since 1950s. In 1950s, we had about 5,000 chemicals. And I used to use the number 100,000, but they tell us 140,000.
That's awful. Mm-hmm.
And out of those, only probably maximum 5 or 10,000 have been tested by the officials in the government and, you know, for their safety. The rest, really, we don't know if they are safe or they are not safe. And so therefore, in the same article, they say about 9 million people die every year in the world due to contamination of air, water, and food with some of these chemicals. So that is 16% of total deaths in the world due to exposure to toxic chemicals. And so when I'm going to talk about autoimmunities, first I'm going to ask why autoimmunities are on the rise. It is not enough to do testing and say, okay, we tested rheumatoid factor is positive. You have rheumatoid arthritis or mixed connective tissue disease, your anti-nuclear antibody is elevated, and then let's put you on immunosuppressants. You and I, or in my talk at least, I'm going to emphasize that in relation to autoimmune diseases, you have to find the triggers. Why the patient is making anti-nuclear antibodies. Why the patient is making rheumatoid factor. And I'll open the mechanism to show them that, for example, lectins can bind to our IgG if it's not digested properly in the gut. That forms complex with our IgG, causing aggregation of the IgG. Then IgM goes after our own IgG. That's rheumatoid factor. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm just giving a hint that if we remove lectins from a diet of that patient, we may help to overcome rheumatoid arthritis in the future. Or we have absolute evidence that mercury or other heavy metals can penetrate human cell membrane, get into the nucleus, bind to the nucleolar cells, nucleolar proteins, causing cell death, and now the content of the cell is released. And now we make antibody against that. Isn't that anti-nuclear antibody? And anti-nucleolar antibodies, which we use for diagnosis of autoimmune diseases. And the other part is, so this is, where my talk is going to be completely different, probably from any other speakers in the past. Because all those 50 years of experience is going to be shared with the audience in relation to why we develop autoimmune disease. Finally, the antibodies are detected in blood between 3 to 20 years before developing full-blown of autoimmune disease. And so therefore there is window of opportunity for intervention and prevention. So together we are going to find the triggers. Triggers could be food, and that's the subject that my book. Could be toxic chemicals. I gave example of mercury. Could be pathogens. All these three also can change our gut microbiome, leaky gut, leaky blood-brain barriers, neuroinflammation, and neurodegeneration. So at the end of my talk, I'll connect the dots in relation to neurodegenerative disorders, including Alzheimer's disease, which I published 3 articles about the role of environment in Alzheimer's disease. That's my plan.
Well, that sounds wonderful, because it's so important to have actionable plans, because typically if somebody gets diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, they're not really given options other than these, immunosuppressant medications. But so if there are tools that we can use to prevent and to help people diminish their symptoms, that is just so important. So we really look forward to you being there. We're so grateful that you accepted our invitation to come, and we look forward to hearing you speak.
Thank you so much. I cannot wait in order to come to Asheville and to lecture in front of your audience.
Well, thank you.